Inconsistently consistent.
We'll just get started then.
Again.
Huh. Melanie, you can do the intro because I did it last time.
I think it's your turn.
No, I did it because it was all about me.
Oh yeah,
Only fair.
that's why we had to make so many dick jokes, because it was about you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yep.
Hello and welcome to Inconsistently Consistent. My name is Melanie.
My name is Rachel, and we are joined once again by the lovely, luxurious Lexie.
Hey, thanks for having me back, guys.
Y'all welcome. I know it must have been hard to get time to do this because your boss is a dick.
Yeah, she's a bit much.
Yeah.
She is the worst. She fired me on multiple occasions and then tried to hire me back. It was terrible.
She seems like a very hang on, what's the word I'm looking for? Inconsistent boss. There we go.
Inconsistently consistent, yeah.
Yeah.
Also genius.
Sure.
So you agree? It's on the record.
I plead the fifth.
That's only in America. And I know. I'm your lawyer.
You are my lawyer. I can officially say that. It's Friday. We had a shit ton of snow last night, so there's like 30 centimeters of snow here.
Oh.
We haven't had any since, probably last week? We had a couple big storms there in February.
I don't know. Time has no meaning.
Her time is now and not now.
Yeah. It's crazy
and it's
that
not
we're
now.
in March month.
Yeah. My friend sent me a video of her dog outside. She's a corgi. So 30 centimeters of snow and her dog is 28 centimeters high.
Oh my god.
So when's the last time she saw her dog?
This morning when they were on a walk.
I love corgis.
So the leash isn't about, keeping the dog from running away. It's about keeping track of the dog, right?
Yeah, pretty
the dog doesn't drown in the snow?
She's going to drown in the snow. And we'll be like, poor Gemma. It was nice knowing you.
Aww.
Did they give the dog a snorkel?
They should give the dog a snorkel. I sent you a picture of her in the snow.
Oh, I've got to pick up my phone and do that and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to hear the rustling of the giblets.
That's okay.
What? That is what we say, Lexie. Lexie's not here with the hype.
Oh.
What a cute little corgi.
Funny story. My mom did not listen to the last episode.
Great.
But she saw the description and was like, Rachel.
I didn't read the description, so.
And my dad seen it and he was like, Rachel. My sister listened to the episode and she was like, Rachel.
Rachel, what exactly did you write in the description? Because, I trust you with it. I don't check.
Maybe you shouldn't trust me. Let me pull up the description from.
Lexi's pulling it up right now, actually.
I'm looking. Okay. Let me see.
Read it for us, Lexie.
Get ready for some spicy content. As we are still February, Rachel takes on a journey of recounting some of the strange men she encountered on dating websites and some stories told to her by friends of their strange sex encounters. Make sure you listen with headphones, as it is NSFW.
Oh. You weren't too spicy in the description. But
no, I think I put something on the Facebook page, which is what my mom saw. Get out of the fucking way, you piece of shit notifications. Go away.
You were talking to Hex.
No, Hex is asleep.
How dare you talk to your cat that way?
Oh yeah, today is all about, so this was the Facebook post. Happy Friday. Today's episode is all about the interesting men Rachel has come across during her online dating experience. Have you had any interesting / strange experience? Let us know. Because my sister texted me and she's like, what do you got? What she was like, what do you got against people with different shaped noses? The picture. And I was like, it's not about the shape of the nose. She was like, well, what's it about? I was like, he had a nose fetish. And she was like, I'm sorry, what?
Did she not get it?
No, she listened to it, but she saw it, was like, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, Hannah. Can I say her name?
Yes, we can say her name.
Because otherwise I'm going to have to go, oh, sister.
Well, I could just put, oh, duck quack.
There you go.
Oh,
But yeah, she listened to it. She was like, because she's seen it. And she's like, what do you got against people with different shaped noses? I'm like, it has nothing to
I
do
think
with
it's the same thing you have against people with wooden legs, Rachel.
probably.
We're back to this.
Here we go.
Rachel and your prejudice.
But she was like, yeah, my dad was like, she's allowed to talk. I was like, why would you talk about that? I was like, why not? She's like, people are gonna listen. I'm like, yes, Mom, that is the point of a podcast. People listen to a podcast.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right, Haxon?
Be bad if they didn't.
Yeah, then we would be doing this for us, question mark?
Yeah.
Haxon.
Yeah. Hex is like, yeah, just for you.
Just for you, she says, Mom, just for you. So what do we do in this episode? Because we have gone on a very long tangent.
Not a fucking thing. We're not doing a fucking thing. This is the end of the episode.
All
Thanks
right,
for
this is the end of the episode, guys. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, our personal Instagram.
Great work, people.
Yes.
We brought Lexie on for no reason.
Just to say hi and then bye.
No, we just brought her on for proof of life. We're holding her for ransom.
We just brought her on to show that we have other friends besides just us.
Yeah. People talk to us. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that I have an assistant that works for me who is also my friend. Lexie, you're my friend, right? Tell the people. Tell the people you're my friend.
I swear.
Like, think twice if you need help.
She's my friend. She's my friend.
She can't blink on a podcast, Rachel. It's audio.
I can hear the blinks, okay?
That's the blinks.
Yes, that is the blinks. That is the blinks. Right, Hexa? That is the blinks.
Really loud eyelids.
She's got those thick eyelashes on, you know? That's like whoosh, whoosh.
Well, she does need to get new mascara.
I do. We've discussed this yesterday. Apparently, you need to throw your mascara away every 3 months. You need to change it?
6 months or something?
It's 3.
It's 3. We did research yesterday because my eyes have been really bad and really red and
Irritated.
And I was like, oh my god, it's pink eye. And Melanie was like, 1 second, I will Google.
Yeah, her eyes were red and they stung and they were burning and dry. And she's like, I have pink eye. And I'm like, would you calm down and stop Googling your symptoms? You're fine. Hence why I sent you that thing on Instagram of when you Google your symptoms and you're like, I'm dying, I have heart disease, I have cancer. When it's I have a pain in my elbow, right?
Yes. Yeah. So Lexie, fun fact, I don't know if you know, but on makeup, they have little tiny jars that tell you how long it's good. The thing is for.
Jars, Rachel?
Yes.
Jars?
It's a little tiny picture of a jar. And it has a 3M or a 6M or a 12M, and that tells you how long it's good for once you open it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Well, now you know.
I do. Now that I'm going to have to go check that out now.
Yeah, they have expiry dates.
We should throw that.
Shut up.
Well, I went home and ended up throwing away my mascara, and I'm going to get some new ones anyways.
So did I.
I threw a bunch of my makeup away a while ago because some of my eyeshadow palettes, and I was like, ooh, you do not smell good.
Yeah, I need to get some new eyeshadow. I need just to replace a bunch of stuff and get a new makeup bag.
Yeah, I threw away my mascaras. I had a couple and they were getting flaky and dry. And I was like, yeah, this is, I don't know when I bought these, and that's a bad sign.
That is a bad sign when you don't know when you bought them.
Yeah. So what we're here to talk about It's the episode where Lexie and I have gone to a medium
Mhm.
and we're here to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It was very exciting.
We were super nervous,
Yeah.
like on the way over and during and like beforehand.
We'd never been to one.
No, this was the first experience for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And Rachel, you've been to a medium before,
I have
right?
been to a medium, yes.
A few times, right?
Once.
Oh, only once?
I've only been to a medium once. I've had tarot card readings done a bunch of times.
Oh, okay, that's where I'm
Okay.
getting confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we actually just like stumbled across the medium,
Yes.
like out of nowhere, right? Like
Yeah.
she was like reading the back of my book, and my main character is like a psychic. And she was like, I'm a psychic medium. And we were like, what?
No way.
Yeah. And then, like I mentioned earlier, like on an earlier episode, when Lexie wasn't here, she just started like reading me kind of on the spot about my trauma and
Yeah.
stuff, and having like a block and being distant from people. And Lexie was like blown away.
I was like, oh my God, because it's something that not a lot of people know about you. And
Mm-hmm.
it's only like a select few that do. So when she mentioned those things, I was like, holy fuck. And then I was like, can we contact you? And she was like, yeah, here's my information. And so I think we were like, we have to wait 24 hours. We can't seem desperate.
Like the dating rules, you can't contact them immediately
Right.
after.
We were like, let's wait like 24 hours before I text her. And so I did, and we set it up. And
Yeah, we didn't want to text her for the 24
oh
hours.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
You don't want to seem desperate.
that's right.
Yeah.
So we waited like a day. I reached out to her and we set up an appointment. And
Yeah, for both of us to see her.
yeah,
When we first met her, though, and she was telling stuff about me,
Mm-hmm.
and I really, really wanted her to tell stuff about you too. I was like, do Lexie.
yeah,
But she didn't do anything about Lexie at the time. I think she was kind of drained.
yeah.
I don't know if she wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
that there at the time, but because I'm a heavy person, I got a whole lot of shit for her to deal with.
Yeah.
But what did you think,
Like during the session?
or like no, when we first met her, like
Yeah, so
what she was pulling out
when
of
she
random.
first said the trauma
Mm-hmm.
and like the block, it was like that shocked me because like I was saying earlier, that's not something like you speak about often. Not a lot of people know it. So it was like it was interesting that she brought that up, and then she was like, you know,
I'm very guarded.
yeah,
And most people don't realize it.
yeah,
Because
like,
people that aren't close to me don't see the guard that I'm guarded.
yeah,
Because I put on a good front for people that are not close to me. Like I can be very personable with people without letting them in.
yeah. So I was pretty like it was pretty cool. It was like I was like hooked. I was like, where do we sign up? Let's have a session. Let's go. Because I had never been to a medium before. So like, and I've always believed in that stuff. I'm a firm believer, and I was interested in doing a session right from the get-go. So
yeah.
So we set it up, and
I've been skeptical all the time, but I want
not anymore.
Not anymore.
Hold on. I've been super skeptical of everything, but I love that stuff. I love spooky stuff, and I want to see something. Like I want to experience something. I want to know things. Like if that's true, I want to know it. I want to see it, and I I want to see proof to be able to believe, if that makes sense. And I have to speak in the past tense here.
Yeah, because I think we're making her a believer now.
Oh, we are.
So you're a believer too, Rachel, right?
Oh, 100%. I've seen stuff. I've experienced things. Like, I fully believe in it.
Yeah, me too.
No spoilers. To be determined by the end of the episode. I'm not giving anything away. People have to listen to the end of the episode.
There you go.
So, fast forward. Okay, well, I think I said it on another podcast episode previously, Rachel, that I'd heard a voice in the basement.
Yes, you mentioned you heard like a growl.
Yeah, the growl, and then it freaked me the fuck out. I was really freaked out by, like, it was like by, like, kind of like by my left ear, like something was breathing down my neck almost.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I couldn't tell if it said something, but it was, like, growly and really deep, like, almost like Corpse Husband's voice, deep. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't tell if it said a word or it was just like a type of thing or what the fuck it did. Or if it was, I had myself convinced it was like, it had to just be a noise, like, like the air exchanger or something, but it was like in the hallway, like nothing should have been there. There was no machinery. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, I never mentioned that to the medium, but just keep that in mind as well, right? I've had like weird experiences like that, and I started to have like, or like just keep notice of things, especially since one of the things that the medium said was she thought I was psychic.
Yeah.
And she said that from the first time we met, like before we had our reading.
Yeah, she said that it runs in your family, that it goes back far in your family, and that I think what she was saying was like, with your block, you can't fully be psychic or something at this time, but if that goes, you can really hone in on that.
Yeah, like I can't do it or I can't experience it right. Like I'm blocking it for some reason because of the trauma, but
yeah.
So I almost think of it like Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
So like not everything's coming through.
Yeah.
Right? Is how I picture it.
But yeah, you had told her about an experience with your mom that your mom had, or we were talking about something like that.
And I said it on the podcast before, the one in my mom's res room after a girl had been murdered in Burton's Pond.
Yes.
The ghost, the bloody torso going by her window.
Yeah, and then she was like, this runs in your family, like psychic abilities.
So, so I'd been like kind of on edge after I met her, and I was really excited to have like a medium reading coming up like the next week. Like I don't think we even had the date scheduled at the time. Well, I was really excited about it, and then we finally got the date on the books scheduled for like the next weekend, and this was like the middle of the week, like say like Tuesday, and our meeting was going to be on, like our reading was going to be on Saturday.
Yes.
Tuesday evening, it's like afternoon, evening-ish, I'm outside playing with my dog Eli, and he keeps stopping and sitting where he's playing with his ball that he's obsessed with, and he can't be deterred and distracted from that for anything. You could put a raw steak in front of it, and he would not stop. And he kept staring up on the patio at something or someone or nothing. But he just kept staring. And I was like, what are you doing? You idiot. Right? And I'd look up at the patio and I was like, there's nothing there. No one's there. Dad's not there. He went inside. Like, stop it. And I tried to get him to play. I'd even like take the ball from him to like kick it away from him. And he like wouldn't do anything. He'd just stop and sit and stare. And like he didn't look scared. He didn't look happy. He just like looked neutral. And I'd like call his name to get him to look at me. And then he'd look back at me and then back over at the patio spot where he kept staring. And it started to freak me out. And it was a good 10 to 15 minutes of this and me trying to deter him. And then I started taking pictures. And then I was like really creeped out and I was convinced something was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I told it to leave me the fuck alone and that if it wanted to communicate with me, it should leave and go find the medium and tell her something.
Mm-hmm.
Or that I would talk to it through the medium on Saturday when we had our medium appointment and it could talk to me then.
Mm-hmm.
Basically. And then at some point I saw like a gray smudgy colored fog mist thing move on, like, not fully on the patio, but like say like 6 to 8 feet to the right of that by what's my kitchen window,
Mm-hmm.
just under it on the by the siding, almost like it was like floating above my house, like on the side of my house, but like just in front of it, sort
Mm-hmm.
of on the siding. And it like was there for like a good 2 seconds ish, like just shifting, and I was like, what the fuck was that? And it wasn't like there was no reason for there to be like fog or smoke, and it didn't look to be that kind of density.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really freaked me out. But then it was gone, and I tried to keep getting more pictures,
Mm-hmm.
but I got nothing on the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But when we met with the medium on Saturday, she said that I sent her something. I sent her the smoky shadow figure. And she wasn't happy about it.
She wasn't like angry.
No.
But it was like when you had asked her, because you had mentioned to her, you were like, I've this has happened, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Like you were, I think at that time you weren't sure, like, is this what, like you were like, what the fuck is it, basically?
Yeah, I was like, there's something.
Is it bad? Is it good?
But I was like, am I A, crazy?
Wow.
Or am I B, crazy but seeing something real? Or C, all of the above?
But what got me when she was telling Melanie like what this was and what she was seeing as what it was, she mimicked on the wall
How it moved.
And we hadn't even said, like, Melanie hadn't mentioned anything about
how it moved,
like seeing it go across the back of the house and like going across like in that movement, and she mimicked that with her hands. And I was like, Melanie
like how it climbed the wall.
Yeah, and Melanie had told me about this like the next day after it had happened, before we had the session. And when she did that with her hand, I was like, oh my God. She was like, yeah, she was like, I see it going across like this. And I was like, oh my God,
yeah,
what is this?
So what she ended up saying about it and how I presented it, I was like, is there anything here with you? Or like, did anything come see you? And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, like anything? And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, okay, well, like, since I met you, I've had some weird things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, okay, yeah, okay, elaborate on that.
Yeah.
And because I was trying to give her we were
trying to be vague.
Yeah, I was like trying to give her as little information as possible because I wanted her to validate, first of all, not that I wanted to be like, you're a fake, but like I wanted her to validate that what I was seeing and what I had experienced was real, so that I wasn't like in my head going, I'm crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And she'd already told me a whole bunch of stuff about the trauma that's part of the session. So
Mm-hmm.
like I'd already had a whole lot of faith that like
This was real.
Oh my God, this woman's legit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like I also don't trust people as far as I throw them. So I did want to give her not that much information. I wanted her to provide me with as much as she could as well. But I did also have a lot of faith already that, like, okay, she's not like she knows what she's at. Anyway. But I was trying to, like, give her just, like, little tidbits to be like, no, please, you give me more. So I think the bit I did say was that I was out playing with Eli on the Tuesday, and I told her what day it was. I was like, it was Tuesday or Wednesday. And I eventually told her it was the Tuesday because I did limit it down to the day it was. And that I'd seen something like a fog, shadowy type of thing out there that Eli kept staring at. And I didn't tell her where, like I said, it was up on the patio. I didn't really tell her anything besides that. And then I said that I told it that I would talk to it, like to go talk to the medium, that I talked to it on the day of the appointment. And then she was like, oh my God, I was filming a YouTube video for my YouTube channel, but it never ended up getting put up because a shadow person had come in and ruined the take.
Because it made the video go, like, completely dark in the background of her video.
Yeah, so, like, the whole half of the screen went completely, like, grayed out on one side, like someone blocked the light on one half. And I've sent Rachel that part of the video and stuff, like the show her the screen, and Lexie's seen it as well.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't see a figure, you just see this blob of grayish black, and that's how I've seen this shadow person the whole time. It doesn't look like a person. It doesn't look like a shape of, like, anything solid. It just looks like a blob. It's like a mass.
Yeah.
If anything, what I've seen, it's kind of like circular-ish, and it's huge when I've seen it since. And I just called it shadow. But she did say it likes to follow, it protects me, that it's been here a long time, and that it's there to help with, it's like a guide, almost like a spirit guide type of figure.
And he rides in the car with her.
Yes, I was getting to that. It rides in the car with me on my way to work, but it doesn't come into work with me.
He doesn't like me, I guess.
No, he doesn't like you. He decided that you're not a vibe.
That must be it.
You're in the car with me too, Lex, half the time.
That's true.
As well as your child, so he vibes with us.
He be vibing.
Does he though?
I think so.
Maybe he only vibes with you and the child.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
My child's pretty cool. And we've determined that my child and Melanie are very similar.
Oh, that's scary. The child
is basically my spirit child at this point. She now loves swimming.
And Harry Potter.
She loves Harry Potter.
Chicken nuggets. She has like the same sort of like energy. Personality. Where she needs to do like 17 things at one time and can't concentrate on one thing.
Now, the big question is, does she love French fries?
Only McDonald's French fries.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's like hit or miss with some other places, but she also does like...
She's very picky of her French fries.
She is.
So am I.
She likes like the 5-minute McCain ones. She will eat those. McDonald's, Mary Brown's French fries, she now likes.
Taters and gravy? Yes.
No, not the taters. She only likes the French fries.
Taters and gravy? No. Why would you take crispy, gorgeous, fantastic taters and then put gravy on them and make them a mushy, disgusting mess?
Tater poutines?
Oh my God,
Melanie. Deadly.
Fucking taters.
Like, I get the idea, but like the taters, I love the crispiness.
Yeah, the crunch.
The crunch to it, and then you make them mushy. Why would you do it?
It's just worth it.
It's
so worth it.
Right?
Why did you do it?
So I guess you don't want to have taters and gravy when I'm home as your consolation prize for winning Guess That Definition.
No. You can get me taters without the gravy.
Okay.
Okay, well, I was talking about Shadow. Yeah.
Yes.
So Shadow and me are buddies now. It's fine. So
Life's great.
yeah, so Shadow, the Shadow Man, as she called him, he's like a spirit guide,
Mm-hmm.
but so he, according to her, I don't think she needs any shadow people anymore. She said when he showed up, she was like, "Why are you here? Like, you're not for me."
Yeah, and she knew that right away that
Yeah.
he wasn't there for her.
Yeah, like she doesn't have any shadow people anymore, like shadow type of guy. Like apparently they're super, super powerful,
Mm-hmm.
but they're like dark energy.
Mhm.
So I think what it is he's there to protect me as I'm working through the trauma, because as I'm working through that trauma and I'm like removing that block, that's
Mhm.
opening me up to a whole bunch of bad shit
Mm-hmm.
to like get in and be like, ooh, she vulnerable.
Yeah.
We're about to move in
Let's
because
take
she's
over
Swiss
her.
cheese, you know?
They
Right?
can, I'm going to use a word that Lexie does not like, possess.
Yeah. Oh.
Let's run out of this room.
Don't do it to me. I can't do it.
She hates it.
Freaks me out.
But yeah, so Shadow is, a beast in like the strong, monstery, awesome way.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen what he looks like
Mm-hmm.
besides just like a dark gray blackish mass.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to stand out on my patio while I'm outside playing with Eli, especially at night, which I hear a lot of like weird shit happening out there at night.
Mm-hmm.
And like last night I managed to catch like a picture of a weird face in the window of my bedroom, which I showed to Lexie and Rachel, and it was in multiple pictures. Like I've got like 20 pictures of that, Rachel. And the face looks different in all of them. It's horrifying. Yeah, so that's fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Shadow needs to be around for sure.
We need to keep him around for a bit. Yep.
Yeah. Also, after the session, I totally realized that Shadow's been around longer than the medium, who we should shout out Tara of Earth is a School.
Yes.
At earthisaschool.com. She's a YouTube channel
A
called
YouTube?
Fuck off. I was going past this.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but
Yeah,
I
Lexie was on board, okay?
I
was over here
caught on.
just- I gave
No, I
her
caught on.
to
I
do.
caught on, but I had to point it out.
Her YouTube channel is
Earth is a School.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
I was just double checking.
Subscribe to her YouTube channel. It's Earth is a School. She's putting up stuff there. She does readings and stuff on earthisaschool.com. And we can link all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll link all that stuff in the description so people can go check her out.
Yes.
She's also going to come on as a special guest on a later episode, hopefully, if that comes on. But that's, fingers crossed. So if you want to ask some questions and want to know some things about, like spirits and mediumship 101 type of stuff or anything, drop us some information, some questions. We will ask those questions to her when she does come on. So
yes, we will.
Put that there. But in terms of Shadow, my boy Shadow, I was calling him Shadow Dude for a while, and then I felt like that was disrespectful. So I stopped. So I'm just calling him Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted a dog named Shadow. I wanted a big, black, scary, scraggly looking, wolf-like dog as a child that would scare people and protect me from things. Since I was a very little girl, and I wanted to name him Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted it to be a boy dog. I remembered that ever since I was a little kid. I wrote it in school papers, like like school project things, right? And my gamer tag and like when I made like game character avatar stuff, I would always have some iteration of the word shadow in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been that way for like 10 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me is just kind of like subconsciously I've known. And I kind of put that together days after.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going, holy fuck. Shadow, I knew about this guy, I guess. At least when I was a kid, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, Lexie, why don't you tell us some stuff?
Okay, yeah. So when she switched over to me,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing she said, actually, I was going to bring this up about Melanie's session. Melanie wasn't allowed to look at me during her session. It was like the first thing she said. She was like,
Which reminds me of when we were kids and we were allowed to eat
yes.
together.
I was going to say, isn't that something that your parents did, Melanie, where you two had to eat supper in separate rooms?
Yes,
and look at
we-
each
I
other?
wonder if she said it because of that.
Maybe, but like she like when we sat down, she was like, now she was like, you can't look at Alexia. And we were like, what?
She said, I feel like you do that a lot.
Yeah, she was like, you do that a lot. You turn to her for a lot, and she was like, you can't. She's like, I need to focus on just you. So Melanie had to like turn her whole body around and not look at me during her session. And
The turning my body was my choice. Nobody made me do that part.
no,
I did that.
yeah,
Sure.
I know I have no impulse control.
Whatever makes you sleep at night, Melanie.
Okay, no one made me do that. Okay? Tara did not say, Melanie, turn your whole body around, you piece of shit. You cannot keep your...
Jesus. But yeah, I wanted to mention that because I thought it was, but I never made me think about from when we were kids though. But
That just reminded me now.
Yeah,
because we're
it's
sitting here.
pretty funny. So when she started my session, so she did like an hour each for us.
Mhm.
The first thing she said, she was like, oh my gosh, she was like, your grandmother's coming through, and she's like a very warm, kind grandmother. And she's like, I get the feeling like she's always with you. She's always at your house. She's like, she just tells everyone else like, I got this, I got her. Apparently her, and so after some discussion, she said it's that she wears like an apron and bakes bread. So she's talking about my great grandmother.
Mhm.
And she said that she's always with me and my little girl, and that my grandfather, my pop, he's always with her as well. And when she was a baby, and because she was only like, she was probably about like 14 months old when he passed away. So she said that as like when she was like a toddler, that he would always be with her, and she would talk to him and he would play with her and stuff, which I thought that was kind of interesting because there were times when my daughter I would notice she would kind of stare off and like look behind me and like things like that. But, you know, I kind of was just like, that's nothing. It's fine.
She said talking to him.
Yes.
Did she talk to people that weren't there?
She talks to herself a lot anyways.
Mhm.
She's always done that. So that didn't surprise me at all. Like she'll go in her room, like even now she'll go in her room and she just, because she's an only child, so it's just herself. So she'll like set up her stuffed animals and like she'll just like chat with her stuffed animals or like, you know, she'll like pretend she's a teacher and she's like reading a book to them, or sometimes you'll just hear her in there and she's just like muttering away or singing Christmas songs. She loves Christmas. She sings Christmas songs all year round. So yeah. But that part of the session, I really enjoyed hearing about that.
Mhm.
We also went into a lot about my relationship with my partner.
Mhm.
So that was an interesting part, and I cried like a baby through all of it. Even through Melanie's session, I blubbered like the whole time.
And I wasn't allowed to look.
Yeah, so, and I just cried because I'm a very emotional person.
Mm-hmm.
So the part about my relationship, that was pretty interesting. I think I started off with like asking her, I can't remember how we went into it. I think I wanted to know like what she saw for our future, because I would like to get married and take that next step. So we were talking about a lot of that stuff. And I was like, you know, what can you tell me? And she was like, well, she was like, I see that basically like you guys really do love each other a lot. She's like, you are a solid relationship. She did go into some other things that I'm not going to mention, but the good things were like that we have a really solid relationship. And I was like, you know, do you see us together for a long time? She was like, oh yeah. She was like, you've got no worries, he's not going anywhere. She's like, he's not even looking anywhere. Like, he's not even looking at anyone else. And she also said that his energy and my daughter's energy are the same. They have the same energy, and that's why they're super connected. And I was like, when she was talking about it, because not everyone knows that my daughter's biological father is deceased.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away when she was 3. And like, I didn't make that known to her. So like the way she was talking, it was like she was saying, implying, or kind of like making it seem like my partner now was her father. And I was like, she was like, you seem surprised by what I'm saying. And I was like, well, I was like, he's not her dad, like her real dad. And she was like, no, he doesn't have to be. He was like, she has his personality. They're very grounded. Like, they have the same energy. And she was like, do you see the connection? Like, and I was like, yeah. I was like, they're really close. And like, my daughter, like, she turns to him for almost everything now.
Mm-hmm.
Like when she's in pain, or if she's nervous about something, like she goes to him. She's like, fuck you, mom. You only birthed me. I'm gonna go over here to my stepdad because he's way cooler. And
You only pushed me out of your cooch, like no
right,
big deal.
like fucking 12 hours later, 9-pound baby. But yeah, so that was I liked that part. That was pretty cool.
And she was like, the way she was talking about your daughter and your partner, and it's so hard to avoid the names.
It's so hard not to say the names, yes, because I probably say their names about 1,000 times a day here.
Yeah. I could tell that you were like thinking she was not seeing that they were not biologically related.
Yeah.
And that I knew she was gonna say it was like bonded by energy, but like I was like, I had my head down the whole time Lexie had her session, because the way she said it was like for me not to look toward Lexie during mine.
Yeah.
And then like she wanted me to only like look toward her for the session. So I was kind of thinking then, I was like, oh, if I'm like I was almost sitting kind of in between Lexie and the medium.
Yeah.
So then I was worried. I was like, what if I'm looking back and forth or something between them, and then I'm gonna like interrupt
or like distract,
distract, or like disrupt the energy. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep my head down and write notes.
Yeah.
And so I was like furiously writing notes, keeping my head down. I was like, look up and all of this. So
she took like 7 pages of notes for me, and I took 1 page for her.
I have not taken better notes in all my years of law school.
So detailed. Like, I went home and read them, and I was like, holy fuck. I was like, we didn't even need to like record it or anything. She like wrote everything down.
Yeah. But I was like so in the zone.
Yeah.
And then I felt like I knew some of what she was going to say before she said it. Like, I just felt so in tune with what she was going to say. And maybe because I just know Lexie so well.
Yeah.
That I feel like I could have done the reading on Lexie and been like, all of this, I know.
Well, the majority of my reading was about like my family, like me, my partner, and my
besides
daughter.
the like you know ghosts of your family
Yeah.
in your house.
Well, that apparently came through like instantly for her about my grandmother, but
well,
like we
you
did.
don't invite me to your house, so
No.
I wouldn't know.
No.
Maybe I'd know there's ghosts of your family in your house.
Listen,
if you'd invite me over to your house.
We invited you over for pizza last week, and you didn't come because you said your mom would get mad.
What? My mom told me to come to the house and eat the chicken legs that she was cooking.
and
if I didn't eat them, she'd be mad, okay? So then you were like, come and eat the pizza. The just told you to come in and eat. And it was inviting me. Fuck, you gotta bleep all this out.
Quack, quack,
Quack,
quack.
quack, quack. Come in and eat pizza. It wasn't you.
Listen, he called me and he was like, tell her to come in for pizza. And I was like, sure. And I was like, you want some pizza? And you're like, my mom's gonna get mad at me. I have to go home.
Melanie, you are a 29-year-old lady who owns your own business. You can make your own decisions.
Okay, my mother cooked food and told me to come home and eat it, or she was going to be mad, okay?
Your mom can suck it. No, your mom's a very nice lady.
I'm going to clip that, and I'm going to play it for her. And then,
your mom's going to beat me the next time I'm home.
He calls you, because I'll give her your number and address.
Uh-oh.
Hey, your mom's going to beat me the next time I'm home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, where were we? So should we switch back and talk about we should talk about some trauma shit. We don't want to end on my trauma shit.
No, yeah, because I've got trauma shit too. So let's
Ooh, bring it on. I'm ready. My therapist body is ready for the trauma shit.
Stuff about my mom. Yeah.
We
got this.
Okay, so how mine started, because I'm doing mine in a very normal order that would totally make sense to everybody.
Also, that just a side note, that beeping out there is driving me insane.
That shouldn't make any noise.
I turned it down.
You turned the volume up?
Yeah, and I hit save.
Goddamn know me.
If I go out there and that volume's changed, I'm gonna flip.
Go out there, hit the volume down, and then also hit Do Not Disturb, the DND. DND. It's dynamite. Know me. Check the door. Did he open the door?
No.
Know me. I asked you to do one thing. Can you hear her?
I heard her. Did she say she just called her phone?
She said, oh, I just called myself. Don't listen. Just turn it off. Stop trying to do work. We can do this after. We're trying to get this done. Who's the boss?
Not you.
Apparently not. Did you hit D&D?
Yes. Did.
Okay.
Continue. I'm back.
Can you sit in the one spot?
The show may go on.
Okay. So we started my part of the session, which was the beginning of the session, with the trauma shit.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I don't know if we want to start with this. And I was like, rip the Band-Aid off, motherfucker. I didn't say it like that. But pretty much almost word for word that, I think. Yeah, Lexie has the hiccups. Lexie can't hold herself together.
Lexie can't hold herself together?
I don't know. She had to run away and scream at the telephone. And now she's hiccuping.
I'm good. Let's do this.
Okay, so we started with my trauma stuff. So as I've mentioned, I have...
I'm not even doing anything.
Yes, you are!
Listen.
I'm so confused. I don't know what's happening.
She's staring at me weird.
Oh my god.
All I heard is a squeak.
All right.
She pulled her sunglasses down and she just sat there staring at me with her arms crossed. Weird.
I didn't think you were paying attention, okay?
No, you did.
I wanted to make sure you were paying attention.
Stop.
I'm done, I swear.
See, you admit you were doing something. See?
Okay, children, rein in.
You see why we couldn't eat together?
Yes, I can see
Record in
now.
different rooms. You're gonna have to turn the other way. I'm doing the trauma shit.
What were we talking about the other day where we were making fun of looking this way?
We were watching a video, Lex.
I know, but what was that? I can't remember that. Anyways,
We were
I'm
watching
done.
a Smosh video.
were we?
Yeah, they were playing a game and they were looking over this way.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
It's not us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I don't remember how it started. I don't remember how she started this. Oh, yeah. So, I said, let's just go jump right into the trauma, like, rip off the Band-Aid style thing. And she, like, connected to it or something first. I don't know how she phrased it, but she, like, closed her eyes and, like, sat there for a second, and her eyes seemed to, like, go back and forth kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like
fluttering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like when you're dreaming, like when someone's like in a deep sleep and they're dreaming and they're like REM sleep and their eyes go back and forth a little bit. And she like cried.
Yeah.
And then
She got really emotional.
yeah, and Lexie said she thought like she said she saw it.
I'm like 90% sure that the way she phrased it was that she's seen what happened or like what occurred.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made her emotional.
Yeah.
That was my understanding of it.
Yeah. So it was childhood trauma. And like she didn't tell me what happened, and I don't have like full visual memories or anything. I only have like body memories and like some sense of stuff, and I don't want those memories. So
No.
I wasn't going to be like, hey, now tell me what you saw. And I don't really care what she saw in terms of that. But I like her kind of seeing it and then talking about it a little bit in terms of talking about like the trauma block, trying to like remove that, because that block kind of like is like a way that I kind of numb myself out in terms of if I start to feel anything that I don't want to feel, I just like pull the ripcord kind of thing and like try to turn everything off. It's like emergency maneuver. And like it's the automatic response, the default position for me to be in, and I don't have the way to get rid of it on purpose. And I used to think of it like an on-off switch is how I wanted to be able to do it. But now I think of it's more like a window, like you're opening and closing a window that goes up and down. And like I'm trying to lift the window up, but it's like a really fucking heavy window to try to lift up to let stuff in. To let like emotion through and stuff, to like interact with people without like to like kind of like, and because I feel like I can deal with other people's emotions and stuff, and especially like with work and stuff, if somebody's coming in and they're like telling me like a really heavy story, people come in and talk about their own trauma, I'm like immediately like shut off everything. But then, you know, go through the motions of doing my job and everything, and I can function. But I've shut off the insides of stuff. So I don't have to, like, the block is up, so I don't have to, like, feel anything of the bad stuff to protect me. So I think in her kind of interpretation, she's saying that block is helping to push out, like keep out psychic energy so that I can't like feel other people's emotions and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I've always used it in my mind, like my skeptic brain
Mhm.
has kind of been more in the eyes of like, well, okay, I'm going to like empathize with them because they're about to like tell me about heavy shit that they've had and that might trigger me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna like shut that off, or like I don't want to feel a lot of pain or a lot of sadness, a lot of anger, or I'm about to have like a panic attack or something. So like pull the cord, shut that down,
Yeah.
and then just feel numb.
Mhm.
Right? Because numb is better than the other stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't have the control over it.
Mhm.
It's more like later in life now I've had control over it.
Mhm.
When I was younger, it was like that was the automatic response, and I didn't have a like I didn't have my finger on the button here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? But she also said stuff about like the idea of like myself as the woman and myself as a little girl being like two separate entities.
Yes, I know you mentioned that before.
Mm-hmm. And that's also something I've written about. Like, I dedicated my book to, I wrote for the little girl
Mhm.
who was told she couldn't, like, wished she could, was told she couldn't, and did it anyway.
Mhm.
I've always not been able to write in the first person.
Mhm.
Like, I couldn't write an I statement very well.
Mhm.
And I always wrote like personal essays. I would write them in third person, like Melanie does this, Melanie has these achievements.
Mhm.
And then like even for scholarships and stuff, I'd go back and rewrite them afterward with the I statement if I needed to.
Right.
Because
Mhm.
otherwise I'd just get completely stuck and not be able to do it.
Mhm.
So I've always had this weird disconnect.
Mhm.
And I also have a lot of amnesia in my childhood from the trauma, and just in regards to a lot of childhood memories that like don't have trauma,
Mhm.
that I assume just don't have anything to do with trauma, that just there's just a lot of amnesia back there because my childhood was related to trauma. So the little girl is a separate person
Mhm.
in dissociative terms,
Mhm.
if you're getting into the psychology of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, Rachel
Yeah,
getting that master's.
I'm getting that master's, you know.
Yeah. Study me up. Bye. But I've always thought of like the little girl was the one who was not over it, let's say, and that the woman is the one that's fine, let's say.
Mhm.
But the way Tara was talking about it, the little girl is like past the trauma.
Mhm.
Like she's fine. She's safe. It's
Mhm.
the woman who's like, fuck, I'm not good. And not set for success here in terms of like dealing with the trauma and stuff. Like hasn't accepted that it happened, hasn't accepted how to deal with it, that we're
Mhm.
gonna be safe and
Mhm.
stuff, right? So and that's why the two entities can't integrate. Like the two identities.
Mhm.
Right? And that's why they're still separate. But the way she phrased that it was like the like the opposite how I've always thought about it, and how like any therapist that I've ever talked to about it
Mhm.
has presented it to me was like just eye-opening. And I was like, oh my god, she's fucking right.
Mhm.
I'm the fucked up one. I've always blamed it on that little girl
Mm.
because I've always been like, it didn't happen to me, it happened to that little girl.
Mhm.
His little girl's problem. It was her fault in my head, right? If I was not the little girl, it wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's not the case.
that's not the case. So that's my heavy shit.
Yeah, I think that's like some people would do that as a coping mechanism, or for people who have like dissociative identity disorder, they don't associate things that have happened with the certain like personality or host alter. That's the word that I'm looking for, the alter that they have. Because people who disassociate and have the alter split off, they do it because of trauma, because they don't want to acknowledge that it happened.
Yeah. And the theory with dissociative identity disorder is that the person that had that trauma happen in early childhood did not have a what is it called? Strong attachment to their primary caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't able to have that in their childhood. So that's why, like, that plus trauma in childhood during the integration of personality in those years, those formative years, was what made that. But yeah, I do have like dissociative trauma disorder type of issues with my PTSD, but I do not have multiple alters or personalities. I have one integrated personality. I just have dissociative amnesia around my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to see that I was not that little girl, because if the little girl was someone separate, then I didn't have trauma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not I'm not a separate person. So that's my heavy shit for that.
So there's that, yeah.
There's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wanna go back to your one? We'll jump back and forth?
Sure. So where did I end off to? So yeah, she talked a lot about my relationship. I had said to her actually that, as it's very cliche, but I had said to her that I felt like me and my partner are like our soulmates, like that we're really connected, and she agreed. She said that she could see us having been together a long time and continuing on being together for a very long time. Saying like the whole thing like that we're bonded and stuff. I think that's where she was going with it. Like, I think I'm a bad mom. So we did talk about that a lot. Because again, it's something I struggle with deeply. But it's getting better. And then she just kind of was like telling me how my opinion when it comes to my child is the only opinion that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to listen to my mom's opinion. I don't need to listen to her at all. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what she thinks or says, or, you know, want like whatever, it makes no difference. So then I kind of switched it over to, I was curious about, like I said before, my daughter's biological father passed away when she was 3.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a lot around, I don't know how much you know about his passing, Rachel, but there's a lot about his passing that there's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of like time frame where we don't know what occurred or where he was or what took place. And the manner in which he was found, like where he was found, and like they know how he died. It's just where he was found, it was like really strange. He had no shoes on, like he didn't have his glasses, you know, and he couldn't see his hand in front of his face. So like for him not to have his glasses on was like super strange. And anyways, I'm getting off topic, but I wanted to ask her if
It's interesting.
So I wanted to ask her if she could see anything about him, because when he first passed away, his parents they had went to a medium probably like, I'll say about a month after he passed away. And they
Different medium.
A different medium, yeah,
Mhm.
out in their hometown. And their experience, they told me about it, and it was actually quite different from what Tara told us.
Mhm.
So I asked her if he watches over or like my daughter, and she said no. And I was like, oh,
Which was different than what
his parents,
were told.
His parents were told that he is with our daughter, like he goes and his spirit, whatever soul, goes to her every day, like sees her every day, is with her all the time, that he travels a lot from our daughter to his parents to where he passed away.
Mhm.
So I was like whoa, like that's interesting. So then she asked me if he has indigenous background, and Melanie didn't know this. And I said, yeah, he does. And it's not a lot of people knew that about him, because it wasn't something they pursued,
Mhm.
where people go to like to trace it back and like filling out the paperwork for that stuff.
Mhm.
They did attempt it, but they didn't end up going further with it. But like his great grandfather was a 100% indigenous person.
Mhm.
So I thought that was quite interesting. Like she brought that up like right off the hop. She was like, "Is he indigenous?" And I was like, "Whoa!" and afterwards, Melanie was like, "Was that true?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "I had no idea." She also mentioned that he travels a lot. He traveled a lot in life, which kind of made sense because he was a rotational worker, so he did travel back and forth a lot. She said that he was never capable of love, which made a whole lot of sense because,
That's what I always said.
yeah, like we didn't, again, I don't know how much you know, but we did not have a good relationship. We separated like a year before he passed away. Like he moved on, got married. I moved on, met my partner. It wasn't the best relationship. We had there was more downs than ups. Like it was not good. So she said he wasn't capable of love, and that he was an echo, what she calls an echo, and he was an observer of life. And basically, instead of being his own person, he would mimic the people around him and try and take on their personality or their actions and be like them.
I call people like that hollow.
Yeah.
That's fun. It's funny, right? I was writing things down as she was saying them, and I was going, right? Like that was my reaction. I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I always say. This is exactly what I always say. And I was like, I call people like that hollow, and I've also called people like that crows, because they take like, ooh, shiny thing, take it over here and put it to my pile kind of thing. Yeah. It's like they're gathering things, or they like mirror people, right? But they're hollow. But when she called them echoes, that was like really interesting, right?
Yeah. And I kind of was like, at first I was kind of like, I don't know if it's because I was just taking everything in, it didn't make sense. But then after I like reflected on it, I was like, okay, like that makes a lot of sense. I get that. She also said that he knows how to play the game of life, but didn't know how to live the game of life. So again, it didn't really
banger.
Yeah, I didn't really like kind of know what it meant, but it does make sense. So what she said was the reason that he isn't watching over my daughter is because he's in the healing area, is what she called it, for his soul to heal.
Place.
He's in the healing place.
I wrote area?
Yeah, you wrote area, but it's
I
think it might be
what
healing.
She called them.
Yeah.
I took good notes.
She did take.
She said healing area.
Yeah, so he's in the healing area, and again, I was so like, I thought that was so interesting when she told me he wasn't watching over her, and then when she told me who was, I was like, yeah, like I'm really happy that my grandparents are watching over her,
and that your ex is not like jaunting around your home.
Oh yeah,
daily.
I mean, that would probably creep me out a lot. So I was happy about that. So the last thing I have to say, because this was like, it only was like a second when she brought this up. but it was actually really interesting afterwards. So it's about my dad's family.
Mhm.
And I don't know much about I actually don't know a lot about my dad's family, like his immediate family or beyond that. Like I know he has his sisters, and like I knew, like, I know who my grandparents were, but I
Mhm.
never met them. I only met his sister, my aunt, for the first time there, like a couple of years ago. But I don't know much about his family. So, like, I don't know what we were talking. I think we were talking about my grandparents watching over my daughter, and she was like, "Who's the uncle that passed away?" And I was like, I know. I was like, I have no idea. She was like, he died by suicide on your dad's side of the family. And she's like, I was like, well, I was like, I said, I don't know a lot about my dad's family. I was like, but I do know that there's quite a bit of history. And she just kind of like talked about how there's definitely something dark and secretive
Mhm.
from my dad's side of the family. So a little bit of a background.
Mhm.
My dad's father was raised by his maternal grandparents, because his biological mother she had a bunch of kids, and then I guess when she had her last kid, or like a few years after that, she like fucked off
Mhm.
and was like heavy into the drugs, possibly prostitution. So like that went on, and so my grandfather's biological father couldn't care for all the, I don't know how many children they had, 10, we'll say.
Mhm.
So he sent so many away, like, and then he sent the youngest ones with her parents and they raised them. So I wasn't going to tell my dad that I had this session because I didn't know. But my dad was like super interested and actually talked about it quite a bit with me afterwards. So I was like, Dad, I was like, did you have an uncle die by suicide? He was like, not an uncle. And I was like, and the plot thickens. I was like, who was it then? And he was like, well, he said my mom's dad committed suicide, and they never knew that because his mom always told them that he died of like a heart attack. So yeah. So when my dad was in the military, he was in the Air Force for 20 years. When he was applying to join the military, there's like extensive paperwork, and like you have to put in a lot about your family history and I guess about their deaths, because he said that if you have family members who died by suicide, like they do flag that. Um, so I don't know if like the military knew about this, but they questioned about his grandfather's death a lot when he first got when he was first doing his paperwork, and he was like, no, like he died by heart attack, like, and that was what he was told. That's what he knew. And it wasn't until he was retired and like in his 40s, and he went to go back and live with his mom for a year, that he found out he died by suicide. And he was like, what the hell? Like, what do you mean? So she never went into detail about like what he did or what happened or why or anything like that. But I was so surprised because I didn't know that. I had no idea that my dad had never told me that before. So I was like, that's so interesting. I was like, okay. But there's my stuff. So yeah, I enjoyed the session. I would do it again. Melanie and I have talked about it. I think we're definitely going to do another one.
Yeah, I'm gonna do another one at some point. I don't know when though. Yeah. Definitely after we have her on the podcast. I wanna get a like mediumship spirit world 101 to get some like I want some terminology, some information on the world of the weird first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? I want to talk some more first. But also get into the rest of my session. So after we talked about like just the trauma stuff, we talked about how like I need to work on moving the block, and then I could like see more, probably just see more in general. Besides like being more like healthy in terms of, experiencing just normal human, mentally healthy person, right? And just happier. I could possibly be more on the terms of like psychic mediumship type of thing. is what he said, because she thinks I read people really well now, which I've always attributed to, just observe and analyze. And she's like, no, psychic mediumship type of route. Yeah.
The non-believer
Yes.
is the psychic.
Yeah.
Of all people.
Right?
Yeah. So he said, and that the block has just been preventing me from getting all of what I could. Right? So that's why I said it's like Swiss cheese, right? It's like a block, but there's holes.
Yeah.
Right? I'm only getting little bits. So there's things I shouldn't know, but I know. So like when I'm talking to someone and I'm just like, oh yeah, and I understand that their like greatest fear is this. Like I shouldn't know that their greatest fear is like losing control and blowing up and exploding in anger and then having no control of their anger, right? Like I shouldn't know that just by having a conversation with them, but like I'm like, that's normal. But no, it's not. No, and so like the more I'm like working on the trauma stuff, the more I'm actually seeing stuff. Like a client came in the other day that it was about like an estate administration matter for like their partner passed away, and there was a shadow figure standing behind them that was in the shape of a man that I had to not look at for the entirety of the appointment. And it was awkward as fuck. And it, like, I'm like 90% sure it was not my shadow guy.
Yeah.
Right? I think this was this person's late partner. Just chilling. Was like, okay, you're administering my estate. I will be here. My partner.
Just make sign some papers.
Yeah. Like, do you need me here? Am I signing anything? I don't think I can hold a pen.
No, ghosts, as the last time I checked, I don't think ghosts can hold pens.
Right?
No.
And I'm just like, don't look at it, don't look at it, don't look at it, don't look at it, because the woman is gonna turn around and see nothing and be like, my lawyer is nuts.
Like, what the fuck is she looking at?
Yeah, she's gonna be like, I need a new lawyer because this one's mine.
Like, she just keeps looking in the corner.
Yeah.
But I kept looking to be like, is it still there? Is still there. Still there? Is there. Is it? It's there. It's there. Like, is it gonna get clearer? But yes, that was weird. And I was like, I really hope this appointment can go quicker. But so that was awkward. The medium also said that also because I know now, I'm kind of like starting to accept it, that it might make more things kind of like happen as well, right?
And I guess the more you work on things and work on yourself and like removing that block, you're chipping it away, I guess, piece by piece. So that, I mean, it makes sense that since having the session, you know, every couple of days you're noticing these new things because you're slowly chipping away at the block.
Yeah.
Right?
And also she said by doing trauma work, I'm also making myself more vulnerable to bad things coming at me.
Yeah, well, we don't want the bad things.
No,
to come
we
at
don't.
You.
No, we don't.
We don't. Which is why Shadow has to do some guard dog work.
Yeah.
Right? And he has to be like,
Shadow got
stay
your
away.
back. Shadow definitely has your back.
Yeah.
So.
He does.
Oh.
But, you know. So there's that. She also mentioned for me to keep a dream journal.
Yes.
Because she was thinking I might be astral projecting because I'm always waking up with scratches and bruises on me.
Yeah.
Some of which are from my cat. I can identify them when they're tiny little scratches, but some of them are much thicker than cat nails. And Eli can't come near me because Spinelli growls at him. He can't even come in the room, like, too far. Like, he can't come on the bed at night if Spinelli's in here. Because he starts to get up on the bed and she just growls. So she's very possessive. And Tara was like, she probably, like, lies on you to try to ground you while you're sleeping.
You had mentioned that Spinelli sleeps on your side.
Yeah, like up on my ribs.
And she said
or if I'm on my back, which I don't sleep on my back unless she flips me over. Spinelli, not Tara.
What?
Yeah, so Tara,
I was like, whoa, this has turned into a completely different podcast.
Yeah, she'll sleep up on my chest, like right up around my neck.
Yeah.
But I don't sleep on my back. I sleep on my side and she sleeps on my ribs.
Tell the listeners about my favorite part of the session.
No. I'm getting there.
Okay.
The dream journal. What was else? I was going through.
I'm sorry.
I was going through this page.
Oh, the flying.
Yeah.
Why are you singing Harry Potter?
You caught that, huh?
Yes.
Quack.
Are we not allowed to say Harry Potter?
I don't know. It's content. Don't get copywritten. Copywritten struck, whatever it is.
Oh my God, Melanie.
I don't know. Oh, Know Me. We need to talk about Know Me.
That was my favorite. One of my other favorite parts.
Okay,
I really enjoyed that.
So one thing we've been really, really excited about is, there is also bells. I gotta mention bells.
Yes.
So there was. Okay, well, I'm doing bells first. Okay, so my cat Bells passed away back in May.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And she, what? What were we telling about? Okay, so she passed away back in May.
Yep.
And so we were in the office with Tara for this reading, and I kept feeling this cold energy, like first by my thigh, because I was sitting like cross-legged on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like it was leaning against me like a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like it kept walking by my legs low, like brushing against my legs like a cat would.
Yeah.
But it's ice cold.
Yeah.
And I asked her if there was anything here with us. And I like motioned. I was like, I keep feeling something here. And then it like moves past my leg, brushing against me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lexie, you said.
I did. I was like, my feet are freezing. Mm-hmm. And you were motioning like that you felt this like low towards the ground by our feet. And that's when Tara was like, just don't pay attention to it. Yeah. Like, don't give it any attention. Don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. So we were like, okay, this is something not nice or not good. And
I told her, I was thinking it was my cat Bells.
Right.
Because she passed away back in May, and where it was like brushing against me and then lying by my thigh, it felt like the movements like a cat, right? It felt like slinking like a cat. And she said, no, like it's not. And she said, your cat has been reincarnated and is now with a little boy, taking care of a little boy who's sick.
Yeah, and she's a really busy girl.
Yeah.
Very busy girl.
And it's funny because I didn't realize it at the time, but afterward, I was telling Lexie about how I put together that back around, like before Bells had passed away and shortly after, I'd been having all these recurring dreams about having these like tons of cats, right, in my house. And I told Lexie during that time about, like, I was telling her about these dreams as I'd been having them.
Yep.
Back when I was having them. Back before Bells was back before she passed away, because she had cancer. And I kept having these dreams where I had multiple cats of like multiple copies of my cats.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like multiple Bellses and multiple Spinellis and multiple Peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
And they all looked like my cat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right? They looked identical to my cats.
Mm-hmm.
But they were different in the sense that I knew they were just copies. They weren't the same cat.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I was like, this is the original Bells, and this is a different one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In the dream, I could tell the difference, that it was not the original. And I was just like trying to wrangle them all.
Wrangle.
In all my dreams, right? Like there was tons of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Bells died, I was still having the dreams, but I didn't have any more Bellses in the dream. I only had one Bell.
Mm-hmm.
I had many copies of Peanut and Spinelli, my other cats.
Mm-hmm.
But I only had one copy of Bells, and she wasn't the original.
Right.
Right? It was only the copy, and it was only one copy. And it was over and over and over. I kept having the dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And the dreams would be different every time, but this thing that was the same in every dream was that there were all copies of my cats.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it was just really annoying. And then eventually, like after a couple months, I stopped having the dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought about it after seeing the medium and then kind of just thinking on all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me to keep the dream journal, and I've been thinking about my dreams and trying to find meaning in them because she was telling me to do this.
Yeah.
I thought, I was like, did I realize she was going to be reincarnated? Because think about it, like copies of cats,
Yeah.
and they're not the original.
Yeah.
And I was dreaming that there was copies of Bells with the original, and then after Bells died, the original was no longer in my dreams.
Right.
It was just the copy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was like, interesting.
It is interesting. I also believe in reincarnation. Very much.
I'm not sure
And
if I believe in reincarnation.
I don't know if I believe in reincarnation. I just know that dream was weird.
Yeah.
And that recurring dream. And also, I had been seeing Bells around my house for a while. Like, for at least a few days, maybe over a week after she passed away. And my mom said she did too. Like, when you see out of the corner of your eye and you think you see something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I visually saw her, like, not just like a flash. Like, I physically see like the whole of her, and like have to do a double take and see that she wasn't there. But I saw her, and I put it up to that my eyes were playing tricks on me.
Mm-hmm.
But Tara had said that she'd come by and visit. Like, Bells came by and visited us for a while after she passed, before she was reincarnated. And I was like, I didn't mention it to her at the time in that session that I'd seen that. And I forgot about it until when I'd mentioned that to Mom.
Yeah.
She said that, and I was like, holy fuck, I saw her too around the house. And then
I
all
find
those
that,
dreams.
I find that like after the session, more things made sense to me.
Yeah.
I guess when I had time to reflect on it, and like, because like, I don't know, I was just so in tune with everything she was saying. It was like hard to concentrate and like, and think on everything if it made sense, if it didn't make sense. But I found that afterward, when I went home and like reread the notes that Melanie said for me and stuff, everything kind of pieced together and made more sense.
Trying to remember it, and you're trying to just like process. But then we get to our fun part.
Yes.
Know me.
Yes.
Yes, know me.
Know me. One of my favorite parts is our gnome.
So he's a trickster.
She said that we have a gnome living at our office.
Yes.
He is a gnome spirit. He chills at our office. And
he's not bad.
No, he's good.
He just likes to play tricks on us and make us blame each other.
That's what we were doing first. Like, Lexie was blaming me, and I was kind of blaming her, but I expected it was probably me losing things and misplacing everything. But of course, I'm not blaming myself. I was blaming Lexie.
Exactly.
Of course.
But yes, and one of the things she said was that like he just chills around the office. He's a trickster. She's like, have you noticed that like when you go to look for your pen or like a file or for like something specific, she's like, and you put it somewhere and then you can't find it. She's like, just know that's him and he's just doing it to get your attention and to play tricks. So we've noticed a few things since then. And
like before we had the session, we've had the tissue box get thrown off the desk. We've had pens go missing.
Yeah.
We've had notes from certain files get put in different files or files be put in different places.
Yeah.
Papers be put in different spots, that kind of thing. Since we've had some interesting things.
We have.
There was one, we were sitting here. You want to do the...
Oh, well, yeah. So we can do both. I guess talk about both, but I'll talk about the door. So we were sitting here probably like a week ago, maybe, or 10 days ago. And it's just me and Melanie here. Like, I don't even think anyone was in that day. Like, I think it was just us.
We haven't hired anybody.
It's only just us ever. And
we don't like other people.
Generally, we keep like there's 4 doors besides the main door, and generally keep all the other doors shut except for the office door, and then like there's a couple of doors out back we keep open. 7 doors. Sorry.
We have 7 doors in total.
Melanie just counted. Thank you. So the main door that goes out back, I keep that shut all the time, and I don't. I always keep it shut, but this day Melanie had went out back and I had went out back to grab an envelope
like 20 minutes before.
And when I came back, I shut the door because I always do that. It's just habit. We're sitting down, we're talking, and then we hear the click of the doorknob. And
like someone's turning a knob.
And it opens. And I was like,
no, it turned a couple times because we thought it was the front door.
Oh yeah.
It was like a knob turning, like and we were like, oh, someone's at the door. And we were like, hold on, let's see if they knock, because there's a big ass sign that says knock for service, the door is locked.
And
the word knock is huge,
but no one can see it apparently,
and black, and it's right in your face. And like if you're like 5'6" it's right at eye level, okay? You will hit your face off the door trying to to turn the knob and walk into it. And you'll hit it right off the knock sign.
Like
you'll knock yourself on the knock sign.
It's clearly visible. But yet we still get people that will come by and be like,
your door's locked.
Your door's locked. Why is your door locked? Like, Jesus, maybe we just want to. God.
Maybe you should just read the sign.
God damn.
Right? But okay, so we're waiting for the knock.
Because we think someone's at the front door.
Yeah. Even though it does sound like it's behind us, which is like not the direction of the front door.
No.
The front door is like in front of us from where we're sitting. But why would anyone be to the back of us? That's just like the storage area.
Yeah.
No one should be back there.
And no one knocks on the back door.
Right? We didn't put that together. So we're just sitting there, we're like waiting for the person to knock or read a sign.
Yeah.
Or anything, right? So we're waiting.
That doesn't happen.
And we hear the handles moving a couple times. And then we hear what sounds like the door just like open. And we're like, what? Did the door just open?
Yeah.
And we're looking at each other.
So then I go
like,
check
what? And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you getting up? And she's like, I'm going to go check. And I'm like, don't. They didn't knock. And she's like, the door opened. And I'm like, I didn't. Anyway, she goes out to look. And Tell it.
Yeah, so the door that goes out back, which I had previously shut, was now open. Not like a lot, but about probably an inch and a half to 2 inches, visible enough that I could tell it was open. And I was like, okay. I was like, even if I hadn't fully, like, we were trying to like come up with ways that like, okay, how did this happen?
We tried to debunk it.
Yeah. So I was like, it was not a windy day. Because sometimes when it's really windy here, like
Indoors?
well, when it's windy
Indoors?
outside, the office cracks and creaks a lot, and if things shift and like gusts of wind, you never know. We don't have the best front door. Like, it's cold air comes through. Okay. So I was like,
indoors?
I was like, the thing is, I was like, it was like a clear day. There was not a gust of wind.
I heard at least 3 times the doorknob move.
Yeah.
Right? So the doorknob moved multiple times. It's not like a gust of wind came and like if it wasn't sealed fully that it like popped open. Like if Lexie didn't pull it fully shut. Because that would make sense if it wasn't just fully shut, that it might just like release, right? Yeah. Whether it was wind or not, right? It might just not have been fully shut. But it was like, and then pop. Okay, that is still making noise. The phone is still ringing.
And I went out and turned it off.
Nomi, stop it.
I went out and turned it off and put on the do not disturb.
That is not one of the things I've asked you to do. Okay? The phone is not one of the things I wanted you to do. Could you make a clang with the mugs? Or open the door?
Flip some business cards around.
Lexie, you hear nothing.
I told you I'm deaf.
Oh my God, can I get you a fucking hearing aid?
I probably am going to need one. I don't hear anything. Okay,
so the other day, and did you hear that one?
No.
My God. Wait, so
this is the extent.
This woman comes in.
This is what happens here.
This woman comes in. She's medium. She makes me a fucking believer. Okay? I admit it. I believe. Okay?
See?
I believe.
It's about friggin' time.
Okay?
Yes. It is about time.
I believe in shit now. Okay. I believe in some shit. Okay?
I thought you were going to say, oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada. Okay. I believe in some things, okay? And now I'm like, did you hear
in
that?
United States of America.
In the other room. And they're like, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, did you hear that? And Lexie's like, no.
I can't hear anything. Listen, when I'm home, it's the same thing. Like, I will be...
Clear out your ears.
They are cleared. But, like, we have the same issue at home when my partner yells out to me. And he thinks I'm ignoring him. I just can't hear him. Like, I'm just, like, going deaf. And, like, you should see how loud I have my headphones up because I can't hear.
That's probably why you're going deaf.
It's probably a good reason why, yep.
Some of the many things we've had. Okay, the door was one of them.
Yep.
Another thing, Lexie and I were just sitting here talking, and then we're doing something here, and
We're working.
Yeah. Yes, we are working. We were working. And I hear a clang, clang, clang type of noise. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, Lexie, did you hear that? And she's like, no.
No, like, I think I did hear that.
But you said no, though. But you did hear it. But you said no.
Okay.
But you said it like, no. Like, because you didn't want to hear it. Well, you wanted to pretend it didn't exist.
I don't know.
Yes, you didn't like it. It scared you. You had that look on your face. It was like, no.
I can't remember.
Yeah, and I was like, let's go figure it out. And you're like, I don't want to.
Oh, yeah.
And then you went to the bathroom because you had to piss yourself.
Yeah, that's normal.
Well, I went to see what it was.
Yeah.
It sounded like 2 metal things getting clung together. Lexie called it, what did you say it sounded like?
Wind chimes.
There you go. No one forced her to say that, even though she's just on fucking computer now and won't talk to me.
Oh my God.
Just on a fucking podcast.
I'm right here. I am communicating.
With your laptop.
checking the emails, okay?
Stop doing
I
your
love
job.
that. I'm communicating, okay?
Stop doing work and
I'm
do
not
the
doing work.
podcast.
I'm not doing work.
You just said you're checking the emails.
I lied.
Do the podcast.
I'm playing a card game. Listen, there's a solitaire game that I play on here daily to win cards, and I hadn't done it yet today, and I wanted to win my cards, okay?
Okay, so the clang. Lexie
Yes.
goes to the bathroom because
Yeah.
she, is so scared she's gonna piss herself.
No. Now.
That's
Listen
what
here.
I'm gonna start saying lies if you don't pay attention.
I can't hold my pee since having a child, okay?
And so
Sorry.
I go out to see what the fuck Nomi has done. And we go out to the back, and I have thought that it was the mugs, because I have these big travel mugs that are made of metal that I thought was what the sound was. And I think it was.
Yeah.
They were together on a counter, and I think he hit them together to make the wind chimey noise.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Then-
we don't remember where they were sitting together on the counter.
No, because we don't use them. They've been out back forever.
Yeah, so we have no idea if, they were in a different position. But I picked them up and clanged them together to see if I could make the sound, and it did sound like it. So we think that was the sound.
And then the other day...
But no, we're not finished with that.
Oh, see?
And then I
go to
came
try
out,
to talk.
And then you walked out, and you were like, because first you didn't want to go in there. She's like, I don't want to see what it is. And I was like, it's not bad. It's not scary. You're like, I don't want to. And then you walked out, and I was like, it's this. And as I'm pointing it, going, it's the mugs, I felt something tap me on the back of the leg, and I squeaked.
Right.
Like, I squealed. I went, and like you went, don't do that. And I started bursting out laughing, and you were like ready to piss yourself.
But I'd already
Again.
peed.
Right?
Probably.
And then as I'm cracking up telling you that something touched me, you're like, don't do that, Melanie. You were like, did you mess with the business cards?
Oh, was that the same day?
That was all that day.
Oh, yeah.
He was on a rampage.
There's a thing on the little coffee table
Mm-hmm.
where Melanie has her 2 different business cards set up, one for her book and one for the office. And I'm the one who usually puts the business cards over there.
But I stocked it
And you had
when you were gone out
that
week.
But I'm sure you didn't flip them upside down.
No, and I put them there the day before.
Yeah.
And stocked them because
Yeah.
they were running low and
Yeah.
you weren't doing your job.
I was playing my card game.
No, you were gone out that week because it was your daughter's surgery.
Right.
And so I refilled them.
Yeah.
And stocked them the right side up
Yeah.
just the day before.
So when we
And
were
no one had been in.
when I had turned around after she squealed, I was like, did you fuck with the business cards? And we were like, no. And only I think the first 3 were upside down and then the others were right side up. So, but yeah.
Nomi was on a rampage that day.
So, and since then, I'm going to add this in because this is, I don't know if Melanie told you this.
You didn't say on the day of the medium thing about how you saw him.
Oh, yes. I will get to that. I'll do that now, and then I'll tell my other little thing. Yeah. So when Melanie had asked if there was anything in the office, because we Melanie and myself were like, we think something is chilling here.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, she took her second. She was like, oh yeah, it's just a little gnome, and he's cool, and he likes to have fun. And so when she was saying this again, I'm really focused on her, and I'm trying to take everything in that she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for a split second, I'm like, what the fuck did I just see on the ground? Something just took off from behind her chair. I was like it was literally a second. And it was I did a double take, and I was like, what the hell was that? And I never told Melanie. I never told her. I never told anyone. I think I told Melanie 2 days ago. Yeah. I was like, so I think I seen Nomi or something.
Yeah. And that was this 3 weeks
Yeah.
later that you basically told me.
Yeah.
And it's funny because about a week after we had that session,
Yeah.
I saw something
Yeah.
in that same spot behind that chair she'd been sitting in,
Yep.
running and like darting out.
Yeah, and it was the
that
same
looked
thing.
like about that same size.
Yep.
And black, because it was just a black flash.
Yeah.
Running. I was like, oh, I think I saw Nomi.
Yeah.
Right? And you hadn't told me that you'd seen him
No.
like that before.
So yeah, and she said that like Nomi's cool, and she's like, you know, she said to herself that she has like fairies around her that sometimes like will hide her keys and stuff, and like
I forgot she said that.
yeah. So this is where I'm getting now to it's almost like it can't be, like it's too much to be a coincidence.
Yeah.
So yeah. So my daughter got a package in the mail on Tuesday from her grandparents. And anyways, I was like taking everything out because the way it was boxed up, it was like you couldn't see what it was on like until you took everything out. So I'm like taking everything out for her. And here I haul out this very girly gnome with wings on, and
It's a stuffy.
it's a stuffy, and it's a gnome. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that's so fried. Like, you know, here we are, like we'd just been talking about having a gnome at the office. And like gnomes are not something I talk about with my daughter. Or, like, I don't even know if she didn't even know what it was. She's like, what is that? And I was like, it's a gnome. And she was like, oh. She was like what Granny puts in her garden, because my nan has like a flower garden and she puts like the garden gnomes out in the summertime. And I was like, yeah, kind of like that. I was like, but this one's like a pretty one.
If she pretty like that thing I saw at your office, I would have died. You'd be like, oh no!
And then the next day, I'm doing her hair for school. So she's in the bathroom and brushing it. It's just she has to bring in like her 75 stuffed toys and her iPad while we're getting ready. So that morning she brings in her gnome, whose name is Avery on the little card.
Okay.
And he lays the gnome on the table. She's like, now Nomi, don't knock over the tissues. I was like, what? And it didn't like click into me until I was retelling it to Melanie when I got to the office, and I was like, what happened this morning? And Melanie was like, she said, what? And I was like, she said, now Nomi, don't knock over the tissues. And I was like, so? And then Melanie was like, the tissues? The gnome? And I was like, yes. And everything like clicked in. I was like, holy shit. And I mean, obviously I didn't tell my child about the medium session or anything like that. So I was like, wow.
You didn't tell the grandparents either.
No, the only people that knew were my mom, like knew that I was coming to the session on the day of was my mom, because she had to watch my daughter, and my partner. No one else knew.
And well, I mean, who knows about the gnome?
No one. I haven't told anyone.
Yeah, until this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've mentioned the gnome to the two of you.
Yeah.
No, and I mentioned to my parents just because I joke about it, but that's it.
Yeah, I didn't even tell my partner because he's not a believer, and he does not.
Yeah.
He doesn't care for this stuff, but he's like, when I told him I was going to a session, he was like super supportive. He was like, I think it's great that you're going, like go have fun with your friend. Like, you know, I'm glad to see you going out and like doing something. And I mean, I did tell him about all the stuff she had to say about our relationship. And he was like, he didn't believe any of it, but I was like, I was fine with that. And I was like, you know, I respect obviously your feelings on the matter. And I was like, as long as you're cool with me going. And he was like, I don't care what you do, you go for it. So I was like, cool.
He's just like a you do you.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. So but yeah, I wanted to add that in there about the whole Nomi stuffy.
Nomi is quite interesting. I saw Nomi. Like, Lexie turned off the lights one time in my office, and I saw him sitting on top of the files over in my, like, cupboard situation in the corner of my office. And I couldn't see his face very well, but I could see, like, his legs and feet situation.
Mm-hmm.
He wears shoes. I can tell you that. And he, like, I compared him to the Chucky doll.
Yeah,
and Lexie
that
hates
ruined
that.
me.
Okay, and I didn't mean it in the term that like he's demonic or like creepy. I meant it
There's
in that,
no
like,
good way to mean it.
I meant it in like the size and
Chucky's
movement.
huge.
No, he's not.
He's not
that big.
He's not small. In the new one, in the newer movies, he's bigger. He's pretty. He's like.
I'm trying to think, because like if you think of like garden gnomes, like how you usually see gnomes, they're really chunky built, right? Like in terms of the limbs and everything. And that's not what he looked like. He looked like.
Oh, so we are
maybe
assuming
like,
Nomi is a he.
We're assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't know for sure. And Tara didn't tell us a gender.
Mm-hmm.
And generally, what we've known from human men is that if you assume a man is a woman, they get very angry.
Yes.
If you assume a woman is a man, they don't get as angry. In general.
In general, yes.
So, anyway, this shape, I'm just trying to think of like a doll to compare him to the size of.
Not Chucky.
12 to 18 inches tall, more like
a Raggedy Ann doll, maybe?
Yeah, that was kind of like the color situation.
That's even fucking creepy too.
But just the colors, the color scheme. Raggedy Ann, Raggedy Andy color scheme.
They're like they're fucking creepy too.
Just the color scheme for the clothing. And then
I don't fuck with dolls, okay?
me either. But the size. I'm thinking like the limbs, because he's like this. Lexie can see this size.
Can you see this, Rachel?
No, like
yes, I can see this.
This is the, like
I see you.
You know how thick his limbs are.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, that's his leg.
That's pretty big. I wasn't thinking he looked that big to me.
Like the stuffy is probably kind of almost true to life form.
Yeah, but the stuffy has like a 25-foot hat on. Okay.
So did this one.
This one's she's got a really pointy.
I'm sorry, I was only looking at butt to feet situation. I couldn't really look up much.
Really pointy hat. Very sparkly pointy hat and eyes. Nice.
I didn't see sparkles, okay?
And a beard.
I was focused on butt to feet situation. I didn't get to look up much, okay? I only got
you were focused on the feet, eh?
I didn't. He had shoes.
She likes shoes.
Okay, they didn't even look like they had tread. Okay, I'm just slipping all over here. This is what I saw, okay? And then I just saw, like, the face situation. It was very pale. I saw dark colored eyes. I assume beard, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, he's got to have a beard.
If it's a he. What if it's not a she?
Her toy is a girl named Avery. I mean, I guess boys could be named Avery, but it's very pink. I mean, I shouldn't assume, I guess, but it has a beard, so.
Did you ask it?
I mean, I haven't had that conversation with it yet. It's too busy having tea with her other elf and one of her Harry Potter dolls.
I think I've covered everything.
Okay.
Yep. I said what I wanted to say.
All right.
Do you have... Oh. You did ask a question about...
If you can see her face right now. And the pain you just caused her.
I asked a question?
I don't know who she's talking about. She's looking at me like I have something to say. I don't have anything to say.
I'm so confused.
I am too, and I'm right here in front of her.
Remember you asked Tara a question. You were like, children.
Oh!
Do you like them?
Children, how do you feel about them? Hate them, even though I got my own.
So this was very interesting, actually. So I don't... So...
You don't like children.
I don't know. No, I do like
Case
children.
Case closed.
I have a child. I do like children. So I've always been curious if I would have any more children. I'm at the point in my life right now where I don't think I want any more. I mean, I almost said her name. My child's going to be.
You don't remember her name now?
My child's going to be 9 this year, and I'm turning 30, and I'm like, would I really want another baby? Like, you know. So that thought process has been in my brain for a while. So I did ask her. I was like, do you see any more children in my like future? Like, do you see anything like that? And she said that it's not something that she can predict, or it's not something her guides can tell her, because it's a choice. And because it's not like there's no soul yet, or like there's no, not necessarily soul, but there's no like
the soul, I don't know how she phrased it.
Yeah.
Right? But like the life or the soul or something hasn't been created yet.
Yeah.
So like she can't comment on that. Right. It's not in existence yet. Yeah. And it also has to do with free will on top of that.
Yeah.
So, and then she mentioned, she's like, if any medium says like, oh, you're going to have 3 children, or like gives you an answer to that, that's not like telling you the legitimate thing, that's like, it's up to free will, and that's like not in creation yet, you can't answer that.
Yeah.
Besides like an it depends type of thing, then you know they're bullshitting you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a good way to say that that person's not legit. Is how she put it. And I was like, interesting. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I was really interested to have her on the podcast to come and talk about.
Yeah, to go more in depth.
Yeah, like what kind of things can she look into as a medium?
We discussed that about different we want to ask her of different things that they can tell us versus how you know that somebody's being like, oh, so you know?
Yeah. And she talked about, she has spirit guides, and then she talked about there's like angelic beings, but she said that like she talks to them as well, but they're not called spirit guides. I think she used a different word, but Lexie and I couldn't remember what the word was.
No, I can't remember. For the life of me, I can't remember.
Like, for her to like get information, and they like help guide her and stuff. So there's just so many questions that I have for her that are not specific just to me. No, I want to know.
I definitely I want to do another session with her and just get more. It really interested me about the stuff about my dad that she was talking about, and I would really like to go more into that if she could, or like if she'd be willing to. So that's another reason why I want another session. I would like to know more.
Yeah, like details. I'd like to do another session. Yeah, like a private session. Yeah, but I think I'd also just I'd like to have her on the podcast as well. Yeah, like I'm really excited for that, to have her talk about things in general. Yeah, to like get more information about like what's legit with spirit stuff and mediumship. Yeah, exactly. And just like spooky stuff in general. Like, what can she tell us? Yeah. Yeah. What's bullshit? Yeah. Because
well, there's a lot of people and there's a lot of people out there who play on people's emotions and vulnerability just for the sake of money, and claim to be able to do these things and actually can't. And like, you know, and they're good at it because you can be so general and so vague, but it can still catch to people and make them have like an association with it in their life. Right. But no, I mean, I was always a believer in people that could do this stuff, but it just kind of sealed the deal even more having this session with her. And
because there was so much stuff that she came up with that she like information, like a lot of stuff that we didn't even say because it gets into specifics about our life that we didn't want to just give really specific details, but things that she was right on the money for, and things that she could not have gotten details about, you know, through like social media or anything like that, to have that information from.
Yeah, there's a lot of private stuff that she was able to really pick up on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I know when you first mentioned to me, Melanie, that you were like, oh, she might have been able to Google it. I Googled you just to see what came up, and like, there's not much.
Yeah, there's not much.
I looked through my social media, my Google stuff, anything that popped up, my website, everything to see what she could have found, like right after I met her, to figure out if she could have put together half the stuff she said about the trauma after I first met her, to be like, if she knew who I was, like especially having related to me from the book, could she have put any of that together and just like done that? But I'm like, some of the stuff she said, no.
Yeah.
So right from the start, I was like, I'm considering that she might be more than just someone that's a good read on people. And by the end of it, I can say, yes, I believe her. And I believe in some things. I'm not sure I'm ready to just be like, I believe in everything. But
we're not there yet.
No, and I don't know if I'll ever be there, but I'm definitely still a skeptical person by nature. But I'm ready to believe in things when I see proof that they're real on just about anything.
Yeah.
So the things I've seen proof on, or been provided proof on, or felt things on, I'm ready.
She's ready.
I believe. I believe in a little thing called this medium.
I think I would like to see a medium, just because the one that I saw, it was kind of just like, it wasn't a specific reading. It was this group. What was it? It was something where we were going to, like, there was a new moon energy and we were doing like a sit around a fire. There was a bunch of people there doing like some type of cleansing. We write things on paper that we want to let go, throw it in the fire. She did channel some people. Like, she didn't really channel anything for me until the end. And I told Melanie this.
Yeah.
Melanie's like, yeah, he did. And I just remember, because I went up and I can't remember how we got on the conversation. And she was like, you're having issues with the man in your life. And I kind of looked at her. I was like, yeah, I am. And she's like, well, because you want to be with him. And I was like, I mean, I would like to be with him. I was like, but you know, he doesn't seem to want to be with me. And she's like, no, he does want to be with you. And I was like,
oh.
And she goes, yes, but you guys are not meant to be. What?
I said the milkman.
What'd you say? The milkman. And she was like, but you guys are not meant to be together right now. She's like, you guys are going to be together in the future when you're older. And I was like,
oh,
okay.
Ooh. So
I don't know if she was.
I don't know if
she. Well.
I know how I feel about it.
I know how I feel about it now. I'm like, no.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm like, I highly doubt that.
Not even if he found Jesus.
He would never find Jesus, but not even if
he decided to get a JJ for Jesus.
Not even if he decided to, like, I don't want to say repent because, you know, whatever. But not even if he decided to, like, confess all of his sins and pray to the Lord and Savior Charles Darwin. I was like, I'm so sorry. I will do everything. Like, no. I have no interest.
So Lexie and I have to go.
Yes.
Very quickly.
So, listeners, if you have had any experiences with mediums, you can let us know on our Facebook page. We're Inconsistently Consistent on Facebook. You can message us on Instagram or comment on our Instagram post, Inconsistent Podcast 1. Or you can send us an email. We're inconsistentpodcast1@gmail.com. Melanie wrote a book. Go to melaniefilmbooks.com.
And it's about a psychic.
It is.
Psychic solving crimes.
Yeah.
And if you want to ask a question or give us a comment or something you want us to talk to the medium about on a future episode with the medium, you can send us a message or a comment through one of those methods, and we will be sure to include it when we talk to her.
You can also send them to our personal Instagram. I am _RachelVR_, or you can message me on TikTok. It's the same handle.
And my personal Instagram is at Melanie with an extra E on the end, 427.
Yes, and thank you, Lexie, for coming back on and telling us about your experience.
Yes, thanks, ladies, for having me back. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Maybe next time we'll talk about some trash TLT. Jesus Christ, TLC show.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll talk about something like TLC. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what we were talking about. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we were talking about. 90 Day Fiance and all that crappy, lovely stuff.
Loves it.
Yeah.
Dies
Or
for that.
maybe next time we'll have more stories about Nomi. You know, if Lexie can hear something.
If I get my hearing aid.
Yeah. Because he likes to pitter patter around the office with his little feetsies.
His little feet.
Hear them.
That's the sound of a zipper. So bye.
We have a deadline. 4
Yeah.
o'clock.
You could wait till we say goodbye to the listeners.
Goodbye, listeners.
Bye, listeners.
It's been a slice.
Goodbye. See you next time. Well, we'll hear you. Listen, whatever. Talk to you. Ah!